So in these chats, as a
Mhm.
facilitator, I mean, so we've been talking about, whether or not people are helpful, whether they're toxic, but I'd like you to talk about whether or not you've noticed people who have cognitive skills, such as intuition, for example,
Mhm.
or pattern recognition, probably intuition's little baby brother. Uh, can you see that in the chat? Uh, uh, or do people in the chat recognize it in other people? Like I can see, I'm going to wait until
Mm.
Stella shows up in the chat because boy, she always has a very
The perceived
important and
expert.
useful insight. But
Yeah.
that's expertise. I'm just wondering whether or not you've noticed anything sort of beyond or different from expertise. Like when the North Carolina people show up in LA, in the LA
Yeah.
chats.
Yeah. That expertise is usually the very first one you'll see early on. Somebody who tends to have a great and very accurate and helpful answer to most questions, unafraid to answer, unafraid to contribute, doesn't seek to be recognized. But you're right, that is expertise, knowledge base. Um, those who are predictors are very hard to spot because a lot of people will take their prediction as speculation, and that's just your opinion. That's all it is. If you're right continuously, then you're seen as somebody who has some good intuitions early on, but maybe it's me, but I'm not sure if people are sensing that subtle difference
Mhm.
that they may not know that, that hmm, if they're young, you're always assuming that they're unwise, they're unknowledgeable of many things. If that young person seems to be saying some amazingly perceptive things, that would be a good intuition to you, but you have to be kind of tuned into looking for those kinds of clues. Unfortunately, a lot of the chat world, you don't know people's age, backgrounds per se, so you can't piece it all together. And that's where I think it kind of drops off.
Mm.
But I would say the best thing to do is look at what happens in the real world. And if you're talking with real people in an arena, well, how would you sense that they are, you know, empathic or they are able to see or have a vision beyond what other people have?
I mean, you could just feel it. Like I feel like the answer that most people give is kind of the answer you first gave, which is like over time you get the data and you sense it. But I really think you can feel it from the way someone is. It's almost like an energy, right? Like, so even if you can't see even if you can't have Zoom meetings where you meet the people who are most active in a channel, and so you can't see each other, by the way people use their words, I mean, I feel like you can feel energy in words. I mean, is this crazy?
Yeah.
I feel like it's true.
There's certain word patterns, where colloquialisms in human language, especially English. There's certain ways to say things that tip off the fact that, hey guys, you ever thought of blankety blank? You ever thought of this? Out of the blue is usually
Yeah,
a good way that nothing prompted them. They weren't answering a question per se. They just
right.
had this out of the blue idea that came
Yeah.
in. And I remember back in the military, they used to kind of put that down sometimes. Oh, here comes the good idea fairy. Um, but if you're
But
super
some people
tuned
can
as a
actually
film,
have good ideas that way.
oh yeah,
I,
exactly. And that's how else do they know how to entree that idea into the room except just do it. As a facilitator, I would spot an out of the blue comment like that and jump right on it. To first think, first of all, I need to support this person by answering, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more? Because if I don't and it goes dead, it's like speaking at a party
mm,
and that awkward feeling of no one responded to me at all.
Hmm.
I'm going to go get another beer, you
Yeah,
know?
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to, as a facilitator, be ready to go watch that question. Give it about 30 seconds. No, give people a chance to read it. And if no one else says, man, what made you think that? That's awesome. Even if you have no idea what they're talking about, say, that's awesome. Tell me more.
Yeah.
And they would be like, okay, here's what I'm seeing. I sensed this, I saw that, and I thought this. And I'm thinking this now. Now, from that might be just enough to tell me, where in the heck did your mind go for that? That is extremely perceptive. But because that conversation's in our chat room forever, somebody can scroll across that tomorrow and go, wow, that's a thinker. And I'll just kind of chalk that up in my head as that person tends to come up with some amazing ideas. That's the closest I think you can do to finding somebody who is truly perceptive beyond transactional.